the ride home in ENC.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
This is your 5 o'clock drive with Patrick Johnson.
Holy mackerel!
More news, more interviews, more ECU stories than you can shake a stick at. Hey, stop shaking that stick. This is the Patrick Johnson Show.
Pirates win! Pirates win!
On 94.3 The Game.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome in. PJ Show for you from Tiebreakers tonight as we're getting ready for Inside Pirate Athletics coming up at the top of the hour. John Gilbert is going to be with us as our first segment guest tonight. And we'll have a couple of Pirate coaches and players. It'll be Adler Augustine with volleyball and Carlia Northcross, who is a great middle for this Pirate team, will be in the house as well from Tiebreakers tonight. And we're going to have a couple of other guests from ECU Soccer. I don't know the player yet, but Coach Emily will be with us as well. Philip the Ref Pilkington is here. We have back in the studio a myriad of people. We got our boy William Grover, Billy Grow, an excited guy today because his hapless Cleveland Browns knocked off the NFL's best team, or at least what we thought was the NFL's best team, in Green Bay yesterday. And they did it in dramatic fashion.
They did.
William, are you as excited as a little schoolgirl today?
Yeah, 100%. There's not much to complain about besides our offense not being active until 5 minutes left in the game, but you can't complain when you beat a team like the Packers.
No, you can't, other than your quarterback's a geriatric. Other than that. But he was excited.
He was, man. He was pumped up. I think he's gotten over that kind of his mindset in Denver where he's like, I'm a starter. I'm not here to mentor anybody. And I think he's in it for the team. Yeah, he's back to the way he was when he first entered the league where he's just embracing the situation.
Enjoy the ride.
Yeah, I mean, enjoy it. I mean, you're getting paid millions of dollars to throw a football.
The other thing that is going on is, who else do we have? We have intern DeMarco in the studio, and I understand perhaps a very nervous, uneasy Dom Szoke is back in the house as well.
Why is he nervous and uneasy? His boys look like
they rolled yesterday, didn't they? That's right. They won at New Orleans, did they not?
No, they beat Cincinnati at home.
Oh, they rolled Cincinnati.
Yeah. If Dom's nervous about anything, then Dom and I are nervous together, and it's about the Red Sox.
I got you. Szoke's, that's right. So it's Detroit tonight, not Minnesota. It's Detroit tonight on against Baltimore for the Monday night game.
Good Monday night game.
That is a good Monday night game. Usually you don't get good Monday night games sometimes. And I'll tell you what you did not get in the primetime slots yesterday for the NFL. I mean, the Bears looked great, but they beat the Cowboys. But Fox, I feel like Fox deserved to have, since they've made that the showcase national game, they deserve the score they got.
Yeah.
And
they deserved it.
And because NBC opted to put a New York team on in prime time against the perennial favorite in the Chiefs, they got what they deserved last night also.
No, 100%.
So anytime the networks can kind of, they don't, because to me you just put the best game. What's the best game?
It should be. That's the problem, though. They don't want the best game. They want the game with the most eyes. But the problem is get the true football fans watching.
Right.
I would much rather watch two small market teams.
I'd rather watch entertaining football than watch the Bears, who are not good.
No.
Beat up on a even less than they are Cowgirls team.
Do the Cowgirls have a huge problem defensively? Because they made Russell Wilson look like Johnny Unitas last week.
Well, they made the Bears' offense look like the Chiefs' Chiefs yesterday.
Exactly.
I mean, it's like I couldn't watch it. I was like, I'm not watching this.
Yeah, we were watching the Denver.
I'm not doing
Chargers
this
game.
Yeah, I mean, but there were so many better games they could have put on in the 4 o'clock national window. Yeah. And then, like I said, last night they got what they, as far as I'm concerned, NBC got what it deserved by putting the stinky Giants on in prime time.
Yeah. The thing is, Fox had the rights to the Eagles-Rams game.
Yeah, that's the game that was the game.
Yeah. Those are two of the best teams in the NFC.
And it was a great game.
Yeah. Came down last play.
And you had block kicks. I mean, yesterday was a wild
And the Eagles covering 3.5 after running it into the end zone. I don't know if we're supposed to talk about gambling on the show, but there you go, Eagles.
If you were watching or listening last week or watching when we had Wes Durham on, you might remember we asked Wes Durham, will the Falcons deal Kirk Cousins? And I think we saw yesterday the one reason why they will not deal Kirk Cousins.
Because they don't have a starting quarterback.
Penix made the Panthers look like the 85 Bears on defense.
I was about to say that. I was like, it might be a little bit of a stretch, but yeah.
No, they made them look like the 85 Bears yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, hey, Derek Brown is Refrigerator Perry, and,
All right, we'll talk about all that and more. We'll do a top 5. We're going to have Jim Szoke on in a little bit as well. If we have time to get some cuts, we'll get to some cuts. I know we'll have some cuts of Blake Harrell tonight for Inside Pirate Athletics as well. I think we'll do a couple of cuts at beginning of segment 2.
Okay.
So if you're noting that back at Network Control.
He's talking to you, William, not to me.
Right. We'll get a couple of cuts, so I need to know what cuts they are, and we'll play them for the vast audience on the coaching show. All right. Let's do the top 5. Hit it, William.
This may very well be our last mission. Let's make it count.
This is the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
It's impossible.
Now some stories you may have heard.
You ready?
Or catch it for the first time. This is your 5 at 5 with the P-Man.
Number 1.
I like it. There you go. He's got the voice for it.
He does.
All right. Pirates fall to BYU in their 4th game of the season. And after the game, Coach Harrell talked about there were some positives to take away from that contest. That is in cut 1.
There was some bright spots in the game for us. Some things we did really good. There's some things you always, in a win, you kind of go back and pick out the things you didn't do well. And then sometimes in a loss, those things get overshadowed. I think you got to go back and look at some things you did well as certainly. Offensively, I think that's only the second time BYU's given up 400 yards. I think that's the best our offensive line's probably played as a group. We're able to run a football against a good defense out there. And not late in the game, early in the game when it mattered. London, those guys got going. Marlon, Parker, all 3 got going back there. So I thought that was a bright spot. I think defensively, we went 11 straight quarters without allowing a defensive touchdown. I think that's a new American Conference record, if I heard that correct. But there's only one stat that matters, and that's getting back in the W column.
So, now, was that today or was that post-game?
That was today.
Okay. I was going to say, because he sounded a little more encouraged today. And look, I think if you go back and you watched it, first of all, we've heard for years, the big-time environment, the big time. And it is. But all of the extras, the flyover, but the firework, that should be done every week. That should be, yeah. That is the big-time stuff that goes on in really any other stadium in the country.
It is, but now that you can pay the players, I'd rather spend it on a quarterback.
Well, no, I agree.
And when I say spend on a quarterback, I'm not by any means saying, we need another quarterback after because Caton had one rough game. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying keep it in-house with the players.
You should be spending money, but as long as the model in college athletics is ticket sales still matter, and they do at this level, you need to do things to build the excitement.
You do. And I thought they did a good job of that on Saturday night. Unfortunately, we didn't have the result, and it was kind of a dry game. But to Blake's point, man, they didn't
play well enough to win.
No, and
too many mistakes.
And that was the key thing. I thought down in and down out, they looked like they were at the level of BYU. They just shot themselves in the foot again and again and again, which made it more frustrating in the heat of the moment. But when you look at it like going forward, it's like we had our best run blocking game of the season against the best D-line we're going to see all year.
There are a lot of positives to take from it, but the 2 interceptions on back-to-back passes, killer.
7 false starts at home,
killer. And, I'll say this about BYU. They're back in the top 25 this week. They should be in, the top 15. they have guys.
Roster.
Those guys on, well, they're older too. The guys on defense, especially their linebackers.
Yeah.
They're like NFL guys as far as their ability to run at that size. I mean, that's a good team. Everybody's talking about Texas Tech in the Big 12, especially after what they did at Utah.
Yeah.
Out there while they were playing brunch football on Saturday. But let's look up when BYU plays Texas Tech, if they do.
You know, the interesting thing, and I think you're nail on the head right there, Patrick. Top 85 guys on the roster, BYU's the best team in that conference. The only thing I'm even considering, if they do not succeed, the reason will solely be the inexperience at quarterback. And
November 8th, they play Texas Tech.
Is that in Lubbock or is that in Provo?
I think it's in Lubbock.
It's in Lubbock. Ooh, that's going to be a hot ticket, baby.
That will be a great game.
That will be.
That is a must-watch, especially if things are going as we think they will go. But it's a week-to-week proposition. All right. We'll talk more about it, obviously. And then, look, the big thing here is the turnaround.
Yeah.
Turnaround to Thursday.
Yeah, you're gonna have to turn around quick. You know, you talk about the 24-hour rule. I think it was more like a 6 or 7 hour rule for this one. And, it's unfortunate, short week against Army. I mean, but, hey, Blake Harrell kind of pushed that to the side today in the press conference. I thought he handled it very well. You've heard that, Patrick. But it was like, they've got a short week to prepare for us, too. At the end of the day, we're not the only team. It's not like Navy the last umpteen years where they're coming off a darn bye and we're playing them. No, they've got 4 days just like we do, or 3 days, or whatever it really ends up being.
It's a good, and they're the one that's got to have to travel. All right, what's next? Hit it, William.
Number 2.
Number 2.
I think William had to count on his
He
fingers.
He did. You know what? This is not even really number 2, but we're going to give a shout-out and claim this is number 2.
Okay.
To the new Vice President of Operations and Strategic Partnerships at Greenville, Eastern North Carolina. David Horn is in the house. Wow. Congratulations, David, on his big promotion. We are all proud of him.
Look at that. Dollar bill, David Horn.
So that is not technically our number 2 sports story, but that's the number 1 story in Greenville, and the only thing that really matters. But there you go. Hey, he said he's glad to be in top. So, no, you're number 1, buddy. We're proud of you. So, congratulations.
Congrats, David. Awesome stuff, man.
Yeah. All right, now, but back to sports here. Number 2, unlike the Pirates, my Panthers got a victory, baby. 30-0 into those dirty birds. Bird hunting season didn't get off to a good start with the Cardinals, but we got the Falcons shot out of the sky. And after the game, Bryce Young talks about how important it was to start fast in that contest.
Yeah, that was big. We want to make sure we started off fast. We put an emphasis on just having urgency, and for us to first off defense setting tone, great stop to start off. Us on offense going down and getting a score. I think we're able to continue to go with that. So I think that was big.
So if a win's a win.
Yeah.
First shutout since 2020. The defense played well. Penix was lousy.
Kicking was lousy.
Lousy. But I'll say this right now. It's Tampa's division, especially after what they did yesterday.
Yeah.
And they've now got at least a 2-game lead on the next, which is Carolina and Atlanta.
Yeah.
They've actually got the tiebreak advantage right now with Atlanta.
Yeah.
Now, they'll obviously play them again. But it's just like, can you build on this? And you're going to New England next.
So you got Miami at home, and that's a dumpster fire.
You just got to survive New England and not get injured if you could somehow win.
Yeah.
And New England's looked really good in week 1.
Yeah.
Have not
for
looked,
3 quarters.
Right. Have not looked as good since.
Yeah.
But my concern still is Bryce Young. And I know what you said. We didn't need him to play well yesterday. But 121 yards is not what you expect out of the number 1 overall pick that you purchased the farm for.
It's not. And, you do need to – the tough thing is I think it's one of those things where if that game is played with any other quarterback or if he's been playing better, again, you go, 120 yards, who cares? Yeah. But I think it was a little frustrating. Maybe the game went so Carolina's way and you didn't see more statistically out of them. But one thing I will say, he threw catchable balls under pressure. It was something that he did at the end of last season, something he struggled to do in week 1 and week 2. There were plenty of times he stood in, took a shot, and delivered a catchable ball. Now, there were some drops. This is still the Panthers receiving corps. Sometimes Bryce Young's stats could be a little better,
right.
but he's throwing to the Panthers wide receivers.
I'll say this too, Bill. Got a pick 6, and there were like a handful of those yesterday.
God,
in the league. It was great.
You see, Minnesota had a scoop and score and a pick 6.
Okay. Dom was excited then.
Yeah, Washington had a punt return, but I don't think they ever scored a true defense touchdown. Panthers had a pick 6. Eagles had a blocked field goal they ran back for a touchdown.
Didn't the aforementioned Bucks have a pick 6?
I think they did. They had a pick 6, and the Jets had a blocked field goal return that they blocked and returned for a touchdown.
Exciting football.
Yeah.
Because really, in those 9 games that were in the 1 o'clock, they all looked like they were going to be duds. And then it got real exciting near the end.
Yeah, the witching hour.
Witching hour was upon us. All right, William, what you got?
Number 3.
All right, this one is a little bit of a lesser note here, or lesser energy note, I should say. UCF offensive line coach Sean Clark has died unexpectedly Sunday evening, nearly 2 weeks after suffering a medical emergency, the university announced. Clark, who turned 50 back in August, joined Scott Frost's staff with the Knights during the offseason after a 5-year stint as the head coach at Appalachian State.
You know, and won some games against ECU.
Yeah.
As the head coach. You know, it's obviously quite sad. And I guess this was, even though he had the medical situation a couple weeks ago, this was unexpectedly.
Yeah.
Because he was said to be okay or in stable kind of condition. Doing okay in stable condition is actually the quote.
Yeah.
Just the other day or last week. So this is terribly sad. It's... you know, obviously tells you about the fragility of life. And I thought it was really classy from the App State fans, at least that I know, had nice things to say about
they did.
This. Because he is an App State guy.
Yeah.
He went there. He was a great player there. Loved App State. And look, he at least brought a little bit of stability to what had been an unstable situation as far as the coaching, because they would have guys that are there a year or two and then they would move on.
Yeah, they would. Which, I mean, yeah, that was due to, obviously, to success. They were moving on as quite, but it is kind of nice when you're a program like that. You want to have one guy at least. You know you're never going to keep him forever.
And, you know, I'm not saying I want App State to have all this great success, but he is a guy that would have stayed there for a long, long time had they chosen to allow him to stay.
I think they would have, yeah. Or he would have, yes. So,
but our condolences to he and everyone, because that is really a sad story.
Yeah, it is. It's tough. Like you said, it lets you know how precious life is. I mean, 50 years old. Obviously, I mean, we don't know what was going on behind closed doors, but decent health. I mean, he looked pretty slim fit guy.
You just don't know. You just don't know.
All righty, William.
What number are we on? Number 17?
We'll move on from that. Move on from the sad stuff.
Number 4.
All righty, number 4. And just add another one to a coach who is retired abruptly. Longtime Auburn head coach Bruce Pearl has retired, and the basketball coach, that is. His son Steven will take over as the new head coach. He's been with the program since 2017, but has been the assistant head coach each of the last 2 seasons under his father. Steven is 38.
This is immediate?
Immediate, yeah.
So again, you hope there it's not a health thing.
You do. But the way he said it, and obviously if it was a health thing, you would try and push it aside, but he made it sound like this is a Tony Bennett type situation.
Well, if there's
getting the heck out.
If there's anybody who's that's built for this era, you would think it'd be Bruce Pearl.
I know, man.
But I think that just goes to show you, especially in basketball, it is such a, I saw, who is it? That was the Fox who played for the Panthers before Brady came in and took over the job. Greg Olson.
Oh, Greg Olson, yeah.
Greg Olson made a great point in a video clip I saw yesterday online. The frustration with college right now is, all right, Philip attends the University of insert the state here.
Yeah.
And you have a year, but you got $2 million on your payment because you're a star quarterback. Well, they're going to bring you back. Theoretically, it's a multi-year deal, and they may renegotiate with you. They may only want to pay you $1 million next year.
Yeah.
But let's say Phillip has a tremendous year. Even though you've been given $2 million to play quarterback for the University of insert the state here for this year, well, you're on the free agent market all of a sudden.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're going to seek 4 or 5 because you were an all-conference, all-American leading guy. So, I mean, that's a great point from Greg Olson. At least in the pros, you're not going to go and have a Pro Bowl year and have term on your contract. And then, all right, I'm back in the free agency.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, it happens if that is the way the deal is
there's 3, 4, and 5 year contracts.
Right. There's
it's not every single year. Right. And so you're negotiating throughout the season on these things when a guy's going to be a free agent.
That's part of it too.
You know.
And I think these guys at the collegiate level, I mean, the football thing's 365. We know that. Basketball is even, I think, in some ways more intense than 365.
Yeah.
Because once the season's over, you're constantly in the spring, not only trying to recruit and go see high school kids and AAU kids if you do that anymore, but you're negotiating in the portal with all these different people. You're negotiating in the portal with your own players. And in some cases, it's August before you know your roster.
Well, and then your athletic director's like, I'll get back to you on how much money I can give you after we assemble a football team.
That too.
I mean, you're the number 2. And, it used to be there was college football and college basketball, and then there was everybody else. But due to this conference realignment and this potential break-off that we've talked about, that is so football-driven. Athletic directors, regardless of where they are ignorant if they put basketball on the same level as football. Because football is going to end up driving the revenue that you can then use 20 years from now because you're going to get left behind if you don't invest in football right now. I mean, you're seeing it at North Carolina. And even at Duke, they're investing more than we never thought these would be football schools. But Belichick is the head coach at North Carolina. That would have
How's that working out, though?
It's not working out, but they invested. They tried. They would have never even thought try that 10 years ago.
There's no going back, though, if you do this and it fails.
Yeah, there's not.
You can always build up. And you can control the rate of growth in your build-up.
Yeah.
You can't control it once it gets to a certain level.
I think Duke's doing it at a much more gradual rate. I think that's why it's working.
Well, at least it worked Saturday.
Yeah. Thank gosh. Hey, I told you they'd win.
You did. I was not as confident as you were. All right. What are we on, 5?
We get the last one, yeah.
But anyway, I'll say this about Bruce Pearl. He'll have he'll be on television.
Oh, yeah, he will.
He's cry for Bruce Pearl.
Oh, yeah. No, he knows what he's doing. He's probably paid more on TV.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that, but he'll get paid a lot.
Yeah, sure.
And not have the headaches.
Yeah.
Number 5.
There we go. All right. The Toronto Blue Jays have clinched playoff berth in the American League, yet to clinch the East, though. They still do have a few-game lead on the Yankees. And last night, the starting pitcher in the clinching game was Mr. Trey Savage, and a fellow Pirate, Jeff Hoffman, got the save in that contest over the Kansas City Royals. However, Trey was the one that was interviewed during the celebration after the game. Heads up, you're going to hear Trey, you're going to hear the reporter, you're going to hear a lot of champagne being sprayed around. Hit it, William.
Clinching game. You were in high A when you started this year. What kind of a journey has it been?
I mean, it's been crazy. It's my 5th stop, and it's my favorite one by far.
What's it like being a part of this atmosphere with this group, being welcomed in by the veterans in this rotation?
It's special. I mean, not everyone gets to do this, and being able to be a part of this is unbelievable. It's awesome. I couldn't be happier.
You didn't think you could make it to the majors when you started the year, so how unbelievable is it to get to this stage?
Words can't describe what I'm feeling right now. I mean, it's a great group of guys. And just very blessed to be all together.
Congrats, Trey.
And then Hoffman closed it. Did you say that?
Yeah, he got the save.
Yeah.
And where Trey repeated himself there, that was because somebody came up and opened a champagne bottle on his face. And he's like, great group, guys. Great group of guys. So.
Great group of guys that they let a champagne cork go into my eye. Shout out Kelly McCullen listening on the IBX Media app.
Hey, there you go.
Sent me a picture of the Patrick Johnson show.
Nice.
On his vehicle there. Shout out Kelly. He's getting the big work done at his beach house.
Yeah, looks like it.
Major TV star. Major. All right. Let's hit a break. We'll come back, and the great Jim Szoke will join us. We'll talk about a Panthers win and the quick turnaround of the Pirates after Saturday's matchup. Stay tuned. It is the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Flatlands Justice working overtime to help ensure that Eastern North Carolinians like you get the health insurance help you need this open enrollment period. New legislation passed meaning more people than ever qualify for affordable coverage. Let us help you today.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers in Greenville, plus the all-new Tiebreakers in Winterville. Do real burgers better than anybody. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, real burgers at its best.
Everybody loves burgers.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
In this age of globalization, we've learned that bigger isn't always better. Ever tried to get phone help from a big corporation from a real person? Right. That's what's so nice about Phelps Chevrolet. After more than 50 years serving our community, Phelps remains family-owned and operated. Mike, Daryl, Wade, West, Alan, and Clay deliver hometown service and integrity, same as always. They share your experience, they share your values, and they are ready to help with any motoring need. Come get you one.
Tired of the 1-800 numbers advertising Medicare products? Flatlands Jessup has 6 offices all throughout Eastern North Carolina. Get face-to-face help from our local award-winning licensed team. Stop by today. Flatlands Jessup, your whole world covered.
We're back to the show.
I missed you. We all missed you. Did you miss him?
This is the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
And strategic partnerships. Here to check strategery for the Greenville Eastern North Carolina Alliance Economic Development Organization serving Greenville NC. USA. David, you can see if you're with us on the vast video audience can see David, it's just the Patrick Johnson Show. Trust me, no one cares. Trust me about that. Believe me when I tell you that. Nobody cares.
Let me tell you,
it's merely the Patrick Johnson Show.
The title that I have right now has no VP in front of it.
The Veep. Let's go to the guest line. And where do we have Szoke?
Yes, we do.
Jim Szoke. All right, are you there, Jim Szoke? Welcome to this chaos.
I don't know what's happening, but I'm here.
David's Way.
We're in David Horn's way, and as you know, it's never good to be in David Horn's way.
The way you want to be.
You don't need to be an implement. You need to be a solution.
Right, and if you don't try to help them. Don't try to help them. Whatever you do, just get out of the way.
All right, Szoke. Well, Szoke, I usually start with the Panthers to pick on you, and
now we get to start with the Panthers for a good reason. Heck yeah, Szoke.
Yesterday,
Szoke, I talked to you this last week. We also talked to Wes Durham, and he seemed a heck of a lot more confident than you did. But Wes went home sad, baby, 30-0. Let's go.
Yeah, I saw Wes yesterday. We talked to him, and you know what? It's I said this to Wes too. I said, whatever in this rivalry of I-85 rivalry, when you think you about have it figured out, the exact opposite happens. Not knowing that the exact opposite would happen. Nobody saw 30-0 coming.
Jim had the script, guys. The NFL texted him the script.
Yeah, because it's
that's right.
Exactly. The thing, Jim, that I think is really interesting in this was. You think 30-0, you think, oh boy, well, the offense must have been really, really, and it was finishing drives with points. The pick six was mixed in there as well. And Bryce, as Pilkington said, hit receivers. Now, there were some drops, but I guess you're not going to shut everybody out each week, but does he have to be, I guess he doesn't have to be spectacular for Carolina to win games.
No, and honestly, of the three phases of football, I'd go defense, special teams, and offense were the heroes of the day. And Bryce was, I think Bryce, the expectation with Bryce, even when they drafted him, was they thought they were drafting a point guard. So he just has to distribute the ball, find the open guy, run the offense, and these are things he's capable of doing. He does not have to go throw for even 300 yards or anything like that and put it on his shoulders. But, just run the offense the proper way it's meant to be. And in this case, the offense did not turn the ball over. The one turnover came on special teams. So the defense had 3 takeaways. You mentioned a pick six, another big return on another one. Special teams was excellent. This kid, Ryan Fitzgerald, out of Florida State, is 5 for 5 on field goals, hits a 57-yarder, and he's putting some kind of funky spin on these kickoffs that the Falcons couldn't figure out how to catch the ball, so they were getting pinned at their own 10 because they couldn't catch the ball. So it was a lot of other good things worked. They ran it just enough, and Bryce did just enough. Like that opening drive on the offensive side was really all they needed, as it turned out.
Yeah, one of the bright spots of the offense, I think, Jim, was the 2 guys who had to fill in an offensive line who were not starters a week ago. And I'm not saying that we're wishing anybody a slow recovery. It's one game. It's a small sample size. But I think you got to be proud of 2 offensive linemen who stepped in who were, a lot of questions going into the week.
Which, interesting enough, I know Philip remembers the last game of last year was at Atlanta when the Panthers closed out the season. A shooting match with 44-38, whatever the final score was, with Atlanta. And those were the 2 guys that were on the offensive line at that time. You had Cade Mays, you had Chandler Zavala playing on that line that day when they played really well that day, too. So it shows the depth of what they've got on the offensive line is real. And Cade Mays, with him and Austin Corbett, it was a coin toss as to who was going to be the starter anyway. You do miss your all-pro right guard, or should not say all-pro, Pro Bowl right guard in Robert Hunt. So that's definitely not the same with Chandler Zavala long-term, unfortunately. But he did a good job, and they're high on Zavala when he has to go out there. He did a good job as far as what they said, like grading out and all that kind of stuff went.
How much of it, Jim, was exactly what the Panthers did defensively versus Penix was just probably in the young season his worst game?
Well, I think Penix is like his, 6th or 7th NFL start. So it's early in his career. He's young, but they rattled him. I mean, if you looked at the box score, you wouldn't realize how much they harassed him because they had no sacks. They had 2 quarterback hits, but there was constant pressure in the pocket and getting him off his spot throughout the game to the point where he just was out of sync with his receivers. He was, right at 50%, I think 18 out of 36. So they definitely affected him. And it was his worst game as far as the 6-7 starts he's had going back to last year. So they definitely had an impact on that. And yeah, he only had 1 touchdown pass in 2 games. Their record's 1-2 after this loss. So they're not, at this moment, probably what they think they'll be later in the season. But he's a good player. but this was not his best game. And he was not nearly as good as he was in that last game, as I mentioned last year against Atlanta.
All right, so Drake May and the Patriots up next. Give us the early primer on that.
Well, yeah, you said Drake May. I mean, he's, people are high on him. I think, he's going to be there, I think, for a while. I think he's, again, another young quarterback. It's going to be working his way into what he'll eventually be in this league. But from Charlotte, of course, Myers Park, and people know him from North Carolina, of course. But off to a good start. He's got 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. They're 1-2. They just lost a short score game with Pittsburgh, 21-14. And Stevenson's a real physical running back. Probably the tight ends. It's kind of like the classic Bill Belichick Patriots. They go to their tight ends a lot. Hunter Henry, you'll see a lot. In this one, Austin Cooper. So they got Stephon Diggs, but he's not the Stephon Diggs of a couple years ago, especially coming off the torn ACL last year at Houston. So again, skill-wise, they're not that great, but they're sound defensively, and they're building obviously with a new coach up there, trying to get to where they were in past years. That's going to take a little while to get his stamp on that. So it's, I think we talked about this early stretch of the schedule for the Panthers, including the first 2 we lost, Arizona and Jacksonville. Going back to that, many of the more gettable ones as far as who the opponents are hit early in the season. They got a stretch of games with teams like this. You got the Jets, the Dolphins, teams like that. So the Panthers, really need to take advantage of the schedule where they are right now.
Dolphins at least showed a little life last Thursday.
Yeah, but from what reports have come out is he has lost the locker room, and it's showing, man. It might be time for a little frat boy to go home.
I think there's an overhaul there. Jimmy, have you ever thought about wearing your sweatpants like that, like the coach of the Dolphins? Have you ever thought about that kind of fit for you?
I've not.
I mean, I don't think it's becoming of a WBT Hall of Famer, but you're kind of a new generation guy in a lot of ways.
No, don't own those pants.
I think we need to have Sandra, his wife, on and ask her, what would you do if Jim walked out of the house and we show her a picture of Mike McDaniel's outfit?
Is your wife, like, you're not wearing that? Is she one of those, Jim? Do you seek counsel from your wife?
No, well, I go to work at 4:45, 5 o'clock in the morning, so she's not even awake to know.
Okay.
Fair enough.
But let's just say you all are going for a night on the town there. Does she have veto power on what the fit is?
Oh yeah. If it's got if they're wrinkled, all that kind of stuff, absolutely, yeah.
I got you. No, I understand. The great Jim Szoke with us here. Panther Talk at 7 o'clock on 94.3 The Game tonight. All right, Jim, let's talk East Carolina. Obviously, just too many mistakes, too many false starts, the turnovers. I didn't think played especially poor necessarily on the whole. I mean, you go kind of down by down, as Pilk said at the beginning of the show, and there are some positives to take. I thought they ran the ball as well against a really talented defensive front, but I just think you go back and you look at those 2 interceptions on back-to-back plays. To me, that was sort of the killer of the night.
Yeah, and then throwing the muffed punt return in between, that set up the second interception because they're back at the 1 yard line. They probably don't call the kind of play that they have there. So it was just a bad stretch of game that against the top 25 team now in BYU, that was a lot to overcome. And then even with all that happening, it's a 10-point game at halftime. But then they keep building the lead as opposed to the Pirates getting back into the game at that point. And once you get down 17, it was just kind of all uphill from there. So it was. I mean, those were the 2 biggest things. There were a lot of little things that happened along the way with penalties and some other things along the way. But to your point, I thought, overall, I think they did a pretty good job with what the defense did out there. Obviously, says could have easily been Pirates up, say, 10-6, something like that. They get that touchdown down at the goal line at halftime. So the defense was really doing a really good job against them. And then offensively, by the end of the night, you put up over 400 yards on a really good defense. So there are some positives there, and hopefully things to take away moving forward as they get into conference play now.
So Army is next, and, there is the factor that they do have to travel. They are coming off a loss where they got behind early against a team in North Texas that kind of slung it around the park against them. I watched a little bit of that early on. But when you look at Army coming in. I mean, the challenge is going to be new defensive coordinator, new system. How does that match up? Because you really, I don't think, have the attention to Army like you would have normally had necessarily in the preseason camp.
Yeah, but it's not Blake's first rodeo with seeing this kind of offense. He's been around it a long time, and they see it every year on their schedule. So, like he always says, you try to keep it simple so the guys can play fast and not have to think too much. You do just have to really be good at being in your spot and being good at playing tackle football, because even in that loss, they ran for 387 this past week. So they just, they run the ball, and that's what the option does, and they run it in a lot of different ways. You got to be ready. But again, they've shown they can handle that in past years. That was an exceptional Army team last year that went undefeated in conference play, became the conference champions there. They're still really good, but last year was an exceptionally good year for them, and we know what it was like going up there trying to play them last season. So it really is about being sound fundamentally with your tackling. And the nice thing is you played 4 games now, so it's like we talked about. It'd be nice to have had NC State later in the season. Now you've kind of got your defense kind of the way it's going to be as far as who's playing and who's out there in certain situations you trust, and so it's about just going out there and executing it now.
With Caton, Jim, probably of the games you've called and seen Caton play, perhaps in a relatively young Pirate career, probably his roughest performance. So what do you expect out of Caton, and what lessons do you expect for him to take out of the two losses against P4 opponents so far?
Yeah, and then he played well up against NC State. I kind of think back to the first part of the Navy game last year when they came late at the end of the regular season, and there were a couple of early turnovers in that game. So, and then he went out and played great in the bowl game, obviously. So he's a smart kid. He's a competitor. It's just a couple bad decisions can set you back, but you have to learn from them so that they don't happen to you again. So I would expect, he's been excellent up until this point. He had 1 turnover before this game this past weekend. So I'm sure he'll learn from it. I'm sure they'll put him in good situations as far as, what they call. And obviously a lot of it is what he decides to do, and he runs that RPO at an elite level. So I expect that he'll do well there. And as you said, North Texas put up a bunch of points on Army, so hopefully they can get back on track as far as getting the offense going against a team that's not a top 25 caliber P4 team.
I think you got to obviously get the game's first score, and you got to get out ahead. But if you could get a 2-score lead sometime in the game Thursday night, that's so huge.
I want to see some explosion plays, guys. I think we have not really pushed the ball down the field well. We saw a lot of man with one high, and I thought it was an opportunity.
I'm glad you brought that up. Caton has not been as accurate on those deep balls, Jim.
Yeah.
It seems like.
Well, and there were some drops this past game, too, don't forget, with Anthony out there. So there were some early ones, too. So it's a little bit of everything, because sometimes you're missing, but sometimes he had some good throws that weren't caught, too. So to me, it was a combination of different things. And we get spoiled. I mean, he's really good, but he's, you look around college football, and there's a lot of people think Arch Manning's not playing the way he's supposed to play, and this and that. Caton's an excellent player, so you're going to a little bit kind of go as he goes as far as the offense is here. But there were the encouraging signs. We've been talking about the run game every week, and I thought this was probably, considering the opponent, maybe their best running of the football, and that goes back to the offensive line too. So, again, to not put it all on the quarterback, if they can come out and run the ball effectively and then hit the passes where you need to, that's great too. And when the home run ball is there, usually set up because of the fact that they're having to stop your run a little bit.
The Monday night game seems watchable. Will you watch or no?
I'll watch some. I don't. I have to get up at 4:30, so I will not see the conclusion of Monday Night Football. But yeah, this is two teams that are, have high hopes for this year. I think Baltimore could be in the Super Bowl this year, so we'll see. It's tougher, I think, in the NFC. Even though Green Bay just came off a really bad loss yesterday, I think with Green Bay and Philadelphia, Detroit, teams like that, there's a lot of really top end teams in the NFC. But I think Baltimore's got to be one of the real strong contenders in the AFC as far as getting all the way through.
Guys, do I need to rethink my career? I went into sports because I wanted to be able to watch sports, but both you guys get up at 4 a.m. every day,
right?
And you can't watch
sports. The conclusion of any? No, you don't.
Yeah.
You have to watch highlights.
I don't know about this.
Yeah. Well, you don't.
Well, the best thing is when you're working games and people ask you about all the other games, like you're working like hey, what'd you think about that What'd you think about that college game, or what'd you think about that other NFL game? I don't know. I was working 8 hours. I don't know what happened.
Well, and I'm sure you get this all the time too, Jim. I'll get asked, "Oh, did you hear so and so on the radio this morning?" Well, no, because I was on the air this morning. Jim all the time got used to get asked about dumbass and silly. Did you hear what they said? Billy, Jim.
Yeah.
And Jim's like, no, I'm on the air at that time.
Yeah. So, Jim, I do have one more question for Jim, though. When it comes to other sports that we watch and none of us work in, your Guardians, baby, they are hot. They going to make the playoffs? They going to sweep the Tigers again this week?
I don't know. I mean, it's been a really you look at their roster, they have no business doing what they're doing right now. I know they lost yesterday, but I think they won something like 15 out of 16 to get back into contention here down the stretch run. So they're vying for the division title, and they I don't know if they are today, but yesterday they had the last wild card spot going at the same time. So they got a couple things going on here that they've incredibly went on this run with our guy Gavin Williams, of course, doing a great job out there throwing the ball. But they just, again, outside of Ramirez, don't have a lot of star power on that team. They don't score a lot of runs, but the pitching has really come together, and they've been able to make a run at it here. So we'll see. They got a big series with the Tigers, like I said.
We've got to go, but I understand you finally got to meet Ben B-Baby Byram in person.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, he was actually the featured guest when I walked up. So I'll just randomly walk up when I get to Greenville, and they had a special guest on, and that's exactly who it was. B-Baby was there doing the first segment with them. So I finally had talked to him on the phone these many years when he worked with Patrick and lining me up on the show and so forth as a first encounter with him. And so now I can check that off my bucket list.
There you go.
All right, Szoke. Have a good one Thursday.
We'll see you soon.
All right, man. Talk to you later this week.
Great, Jim Szoke.
Yep.
You're going to wrap it up when we come back?
Yeah, I can wrap it up.
All right, Pilk will wrap it up, and then we'll have Inside Pirate Athletics at the top of the hour. So stand by for that. Pilk will carry you home when we get back.
Flatlands Jessup is working overtime to help ensure that Eastern North Carolinians like you get the health insurance help you need this open enrollment period. New legislation passed meaning more people than ever qualify for affordable coverage. Let us help you today.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers in Greenville, plus the all-new Tiebreakers in Winterville. Do real burgers better than anybody. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, real burgers at its best.
Everybody loves burgers.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
In this age of globalization, we've learned that bigger isn't always better. Ever tried to get phone help from a big corporation from a real person? Right. That's what's so nice about Phelps Chevrolet. After more than 50 years serving our community, Phelps remains family-owned and operated. Mike, Daryl, Wade, West, Allen, and Clay deliver hometown service and integrity, same as always. They share your experience, they share your values, and they are ready to help with any motoring need. Come get you one.
Tired of the 1-800 numbers advertising Medicare products? Flatlands Jessup has 6 offices all throughout eastern North Carolina. Get face-to-face help from our local award-winning licensed team. Stop by today. Flatlands Jessup, your whole world covered.
And now, the stunning conclusion.
Why is everyone screaming?
On 94.3 The Game.
Welcome back into the Patrick Johnson Show as we get set to put a wrap on it here live from Tiebreakers. As we get set to lead you into Inside Pirate Athletics, we will have a pair of Pirate coaches on, including Adler Augustine, as well as the soccer coach, Emily. I'm bad at saying her last name, so I'm not going to botch it because I would do that. And we will also have Director of Athletics John Gilbert will join the show to start us off here tonight. As for our programming notes on 94.3 The Game the rest of the week, Patrick Johnson Show tomorrow, we're going to have John McGinnis on as we preview the Ryder Cup. Coach Logan will be on Wednesday, and then the game on Thursday. As Patrick mentioned, interesting game tonight. We could be getting a Super Bowl preview tonight on the NFL side of things with this big matchup between the Detroit Lions and the Baltimore Ravens. Lions are 1-1. They were abysmal in week 1, and that was their first game of the new OC, first game of the new DC, and they were playing up in Green Bay at Lambeau. So that is a tough one to have with a brand new OC in DC. Historically, teams with new coordinators do not win the Super Bowl. Historically, they do not make the Super Bowl. I think this roster is good enough to do that. This is 1-53. This is the best roster in the NFL, arguably, right now. And Jared Goff is playing better, I think, than anyone could have ever dreamed, even despite him being the number 2 pick in the draft by the Rams a few years ago. He is just lighting it up now. It helps that he's got a star-studded cast around him. They have just extended Jamison Williams, who doesn't put up the best numbers when it comes to receivers for what he's being paid, but they are just sending him on go routes, having him occupy the corner who's on him and the safety, and that is allowing the offense to open up and allowing Sam Laporta and Amon-Ra St. Brown to just pretty much run free underneath. And I think that's why this offense, paired with how good their run game is the reason that they are so good. So we got a little over a minute left here tonight, boys. William, we'll bring you in. Lions at Ravens tonight. 4.5-point favorites are the hometown Baltimore Ravens. What do you think? I think the Ravens win it, but I think it's a one-score game.
Obviously, being a Cleveland fan, I do not want the Ravens to win, but I think it's going to be a shootout, and I think the Ravens will win this one. The Lions haven't impressed me as much as they have in past years, but I think the Ravens will win at home, and it'll be a shootout and high-scoring game, and I agree with everything else you've said so far.
Yeah, and he mentions there the Ravens. They're coming off already a tough loss to Buffalo last week, so they're ready for these type of games. And we are less than a minute away from wrapping up our show and leading you in Inside Pirate Athletics. So if you could pop up that end-of-show music bed there, William, we want to thank you. Thanks to Dom. Thanks to intern DeMarco. Thanks to PJ. Thanks to Jim Szoke. David Horn even chimed in on the show. Have a great rest of your evening, Pirate Nation. Stay tuned. Inside Pirate Athletics, top of the hour, live from Tiebreakers.
Soak up the savings at Greenville Toyota. Summer is here with hot deals on a great selection of new Toyotas, like a Corolla, $189 a month, or Tacoma, $279 a month. Soak up the savings at Greenville Toyota.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's Cut in Color, and let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville, we've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
The sun is out, and so are the deals at Greenville Toyota. Soak up the savings on a hot selection of new Toyotas, like a Camry, $229 a month, or RAV4, $289 a month. Soak up the savings at Greenville Toyota.